Hi guys, welcome to today's vlog. I'm just getting ready for my Patreon with my projectors and my generators. It is a second day sleek back bun, which is perfect because I don't know if you could see if it adjusts, but it is literally like -1 degrees outside. It's probably 2 degrees now, but it is cold. I was like, let me just get comfortable and then like start to film downstairs before I hop on actually for my projector Patreon. I have my projectors and my generators today, and then I have man-gens and manifestors tomorrow. I don't have any reflectors yet, but it's so funny because I know so many reflectors in real life. And they flow with the moon cycles, as you guys may know. But today I'm actually going to talk about definition in human design, whether you are a simple, if you have singular definition, if you have a simple split definition, triple, quadruple, or no. If you have no definition, you're a reflector. So I'm really excited to talk about that because I had a couple requests specifically from Fallon that is a triple split. So talking about what that means, how to just create more alignment in your energy, and then also just like in a time where it's so crazy, Pluto and the sun are conjunct each other today in Aquarius as I'm filming this video. So for myself, who has a lot of Aquarius placements, as a lot of you know already, I'm an Aquarius rising. We're really feeling it collectively. Just especially with everything going on in the world, it's been kind of heavy and a lot of purging happening, energetically, literally, people getting sick, doing what they can to feel better. It's just definitely a slow and steady wins the race type pace for the month of January, really into the end of February, very early March. I've been telling everybody that I've been doing the free, if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and you're one of my first 1,000 subscribers, you get a free 5-minute mini reading from me. So the form to that is linked in the show notes below if you want to go ahead and do that. But yeah, so it's been really crazy. I just wanted to talk about perseverance in the face of challenges and our definition and how that kind of ties in. So we're going to talk more about that. And as always, if you have any questions or specific areas that you'd like me to cover, show you how to do things practically using your human design, using your human design, please let me know. Before I head downstairs, I'm gonna make a little tea. I've been trying to be easier on my system with making coffee because the only coffee I have in my house right now is Cafe Bustelo. So if you know what that tastes like, you know it's not the lightest coffee in the world. I actually had this turmeric ginger Vadam last night tea that my friend Ryan got me, who's also my photographer that takes all the beautiful photos of me that you see on the covers or the thumbnails. But he also got me this bourbon barrel chai, so it has a little caffeine in it. Black tea, cinnamon, anise, clove, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger as well. So I'm excited to try this. And then I actually have a cute little like loose leaf tea grab thingy bag, whatever it's called, that he got me too, that I'll use to steep it. I thought that was gonna go everywhere, not gonna lie. It only says 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces, so I feel like that's about 1 teaspoon, maybe a little bit more, or else I would just go in there and scoop it. Okay, all set. Gonna head downstairs. Let's talk definitions. If you watch one of my last videos, the one before last, I talked about digestion, so you know that I'm a hot foods person, and my drinks have to be flaming hot or else I am cold, and they need to be really warm. So I popped up a little example on the screen here to talk about single definition in human design, and basically what this means is that people with single definition, they make up about 41% of the population, are people that have one ecosystem or one continuous channel through multiple channels, if you will, that connect each of their energy centers. So it's almost like they only have one voice that speaks to them that they have to consult when they're looking to make a decision. We see this a lot. I see it a lot in generators. I also see it a lot in not so many manifesting generators. Sometimes I do. I haven't really gotten or broken down the data for like the different energy types and how definition works with that exactly, because I'm also a man-gen. So I'm like, if it's relevant, I'll do that. But more importantly to me, is looking at where can this person find harmony. And as it's worded in a couple different books that I've like read or trainings that I've done over my 9 years now doing this, of which there have been many, they call single definition people the least needy, meaning that they don't really need people to create harmony in them. They know what they want when they want it. They have like one easy consulted or voice that they're consulting at any given time. So there's not a need to try to have people bridge their split, which I'll explain in a second when I talk about simple split definition. Now, these people are still affected by the transits because every day there's different planets that are transiting different gates in human design. There's 64 gates in human design. So that means that there are 64 potentials, right, for different planets. Each planet has about 6 gates have 6 gates that it represents. Some are shared, like today, the sun is officially in gate 60 in Aquarius, but it's also a shared gate placement with Capricorn. It's the gate of radical acceptance, radically accepting something to be true, and really important. So if a person has a hanging gate 3, the sun is hanging on to that gate 3, which is a Aries gate placement, also shared with Taurus, gate of ordering, and it creates a little bit of certain harmony and structure where they're working together, learning how to accept things. But this is also a time when people are activated like this to really look at melancholy. This is a channel that deals with melancholic placements, allowing yourself to be more introverted, even if you don't like the way that things are going right now, radically accepting them and say, okay, these are my circumstances. This is the data. It's less emotional in theory. People that have this placement usually are very emotional, but it's the gift of it, or the lesson it's teaching is how to allow yourself to lean into being more comfortable with knowing that, like, okay, I may be in a little bit of a lull right now. This may be a slower phase of my life. And especially here, Northern Hemisphere in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Northern Hemisphere, it's winter time where you experience the 4 seasons. So it's allowing yourself to enjoy the introverted part of the winter. Plant some seeds doesn't mean you can't take action, but more of the action should be taken introverted quality or introverted traits rather, indoors, things like that, where it's like a slow and steady wins the race to plant a good foundation for yourself, which is very 1-3 of me to say. Oh my gosh, this octo buddy and my furry buddy have come in very handy. But I just finished my Manifesting Generator Patreon training with my MG that's in the community, Gabe, who's been fun to work with and just talk about work stuff and how to navigate impatience as a projector, finding more patience, how to find that flow and balance. Gabe has a Mars Libra opposition, so we talked about that. You guys are on Patreon as well. My little furry guy here. But I'm just gonna have some perennial. As you know, this has been my hyperfixation. And then something I also made that's helpful for generators and manifesting generators is Greek yogurt plus 2 packets. This is a 32-ounce container plus 2 packets of the Lipton onion soup mix. So good for manifesting generators and generators for extra brain power. So I'm gonna chill, eat for a little bit, and then get back to more of my admin work. And then talking about simple split, triple split, and quadruple split definitions in human design. So new outfit, new mug, new drink, same subject here, but I wanted to use my client Anne's chart. She is in my generator Patreon, and she has a wide split definition in human design. So using her as an example versus this chart that is a simple split definition, somebody who just has one gate, one bridge that's needed to connect their split. So what does that mean? In human design, in addition to single definition, right, we have simple split or wide split definition, meaning that people have 2 different eco centers or 2 different systems that show us the way that they are different. The way that they have 2 different voices that are speaking to them at any given time. They make up about 45% of the population, so they are people that are always looking to connect with others to help them make sense of life. Now, for myself, I have a defined throat, so I would bridge Anne's split by connecting her 1/8 channel to her throat, so connecting her lower chakras, her lower energy centers to her throat center, but there's still other people that are needed to help bridge that ajna center to the throat center for that wide split with that open definition that's there. So somebody with a gate 48, for example, somebody with the 43-23 channel, for example, are all other options for people that would bridge her split or make it make sense for her to connect her mind to her vocabulary, connect what she's thinking, what's on her heart, on her gut, to be able to communicate effectively That's an example of how that wide split would work. Now, if we have somebody that is simple split, for example, say somebody needed a gate 44 or gate 57, a gate from the spleen that was needed to connect their split, they're going to focus on people that have that zodiac energy. So each gate in human design is a different zodiac placement. Gate 57, gate 48, those are both Libra placements, for example. So you might find that people with this kind of split, or somebody that needs those gates to bridge their split, will focus more on Libra placements, for example. So if you know your split, if you know your definition, if you want me to take a look at your chart, you can drop your info in the comments below so that I could tell you what your bridge is, for what bridges your split, so that I can help that make a little bit more sense for you. But for me, for example, I have a split definition, and it is Libra placements that I find connect me with bridging my split with gate 57, to be able to help me connect, right? To be able to make it make sense. And I find that the less splits, or if somebody needs one gate to bridge their split versus a lot of channels, for example, they need less people that they need to consult about certain things. So for myself, I'm very autonomous. I'm an Aquarius rising, as most of you know at this point, if you've seen any of my videos before. But if not, hi, I'm an Aquarius rising. So I am very autonomous in a lot of ways. However, when I do come to an area where I'm stuck, I'll get a mentor or a guide or somebody that I meet with and do a reading to help me make more sense over or about my placements and where I need more clarity. And a lot of those people tend to have that Libra placement. For split, triple, and quadruple split people, they are also really affected by the transits, because they'll have certain times of years that bridge their split. So for myself, for example, Libra season always works really well for me because it bridges my split. I feel more in flow, even though I only get the flavor of my bridge splitter, or my bridge connector, for about 6 days. Each of the gate transits in human design lasts for about 6 days, because we have 52 weeks out of the year, but only 6 days that the gates move through a sign roughly. So it's like 6-day weeks in human design versus 7. So you see how that kind of works out too. Triple split definition, folks, for example, Fallon, who sent in this request, had asked about being a triple split definition and what that kind of means. So these people make up about 12% of the population. I get quite a few of them, actually, probably because I bridge a lot of their splits, but they have 3 different pockets of energy centers or ecosystems that are speaking to each other. A way that they do really well with being able to understand their energy, or to make connections between those 3 placements or those 3 different ecosystems, is starting with whatever their definition is that causes them to be their energy type. So I get a lot of triple splits that are generators and manifesting generators, and the first voice or the ecosystem that you would listen to would be your gut instinct. Say, I know I want to start a new business, or I know I want to quit my job and go do something else, right? So let's say their second ecosystem is their throat to their emotional center, just for the sake of it, which makes them an emotional authority. And they'll have a connection where they then listen to their emotional wave, because for anyone in human design, you want to look at your gut instinct first. If you're a generator or man gen, then go over and look at what your authority is. If you're not a sacral authority, being an emotional authority, for example, maybe it's the emotional center connected to the throat, connected to the ego, heart, motivation center, that tiniest center in our human design body graph. And then they wait and they say, okay, well, what do I feel like I need to communicate about, and how can I start to take some action? The ego, heart, motivation center is a action-based sign, so only 30% of the population have that defined. They then listen to their emotional authority. So their gut instinct told them they're supposed to do something. They start to take a little bit of action on it. Then let's say their third ecosystem is the ajna and the crown that's connected. So working through their actions through logic, right? You never start with the head centers first. It's always starting with your authority in human design, or in the case of generators and manifesting generators, their gut instinct, because that's the initial hit that they're getting. But they have to wait and communicate to all 3 voices before they make a hardcore change or decision. Not even to make sure that they're changing their mind, which can happen, but actually to just get more clarity on what it is that they need out of this new change, this new job, before they rush commit themselves to something new that wasn't really meant for them, right? That maybe was a good idea, but if they waited a day or two, they could have gotten better results or a better offer from another job in another location, or, a better offer somewhere for a mentor that could help them, so on and so forth. You want to just take time to communicate with all 3 of those voices and have patience, which isn't always easy. And also because of this, Triple split definition folks are also people who need to be in public spaces, connect with a lot of different people, having the same conversation with between 3 to 5 people before they make a decision. Also helpful for my quadruple split people, but you will find as triple split folks that you really like to connect with multiple different people to get multiple different perspectives from different people who bridge your split, whether consciously or unconsciously, you know this, to be able to just get more clarity over time. It's like a slow and steady wins the race with my triple and quadruple split people for this reason. The last note I'll read to you that I wrote down in preparation for my notes for today of things to talk about for you guys is no one person should fill 100% of your needs 100% of the time. You like diverse friends around you. You're not somebody who looks for a total soulmate and likes your own space, because you need to give yourself time to think about, okay, I've consulted all these people, but how do I get back to center again? It's like going out, connecting online, in person. I got all the data. Now, how do I come back to center to really focus on what I want and need? Last but not least, my quadruple split people, you only make up 1% of the population. Same with my no definition people, which I'll talk about in a minute or two. But the couple notes that I wrote for you is you have 4 competing voices that are talking to you at any given time. You need and have different wants at different times. Write your pros and cons. A problem written down is a problem half solved, which you guys know that I say very often if you've been following me for a while, because you need to find ways to get out of your head and into your body. Now, because you have quadruple split definition and you have 4 different ecosystems or voices that talk to each other, you want to use the same method that I gave the folks who are triple split or that have triple split. So listening to your gut instinct first, and or if you're most likely not going to be a projector with or a manifestor with these placements, I have yet to see a quadruple split in my personal experience that I can think of off the top of my head, maybe not. However, the higher the chances you will have for definition, the more likely it is that you'll be a generator or man-gen that has that sacral tapped in. I feel like my folks that would be non-sacrals, like generators, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors that would have quadruple split, would be more on the manifestor end of the spectrum, or at least have that energy within them, or even just comfortable in the fact that like they are non-sacrals that aren't meant to hustle, but they have a lot of ideas and ways that they can refine hustle for the rest of us, 70% of the population. So all that to say, that is a quadruple split person, starting with your authority, right? Your sacral, but followed by your authority if you're a generator or manifesting generator, and then working your way up. It's kind of like starting from the bottom up in human design, because when we take in energy from others' auras, from outside energy, it actually hits us in the root first. It's not from the top down, it's from the root up. So if that root is defined, right, it's going to stop there and say, okay, how do I want to interact with this energy? It's a hard stop. Or it's, yes, okay, I'm letting the gates open, and then we go up to the sacral or the spleen or the solar plexus and tap in with that energy center to decide, is this intuitively, spleen, feel good for my safety, for my instincts? Gut, does this feel like an action that I want to take? In solar plexus, does this feel good in my spirit, in my body, right? And working your way up through the energy centers and all of those voices to kind of decide what it is that you need. And another advice or piece of advice I'll give you is to look up the channels that cause definition, because channels are like when you have 2 gates, right, that create a channel or flow of energy. I say they're like 2 arms that are connecting, 2 hands that are saying we're going to work together as a voice, as an ecosystem. Channels are what causes definition in our human design body graph. So if you ever feel stuck, right, throughout one of your journey of your 4 voices, or even if you just have one voice, look at the channels to get a little bit more refined about the energy that's consistent to you. And then for quadruple splits as well, you're not always going to enact on all 4 of those voices for every situation all the time. Like, you're not going to wait to consult 4 voices before you decide what you're going to eat for breakfast, say. But if for people who are very dysregulated, very conditioned, as it's called in human design, and out of alignment, you can overthink even the simplest of things. So it's really figuring out how to work with your energy, how to work with your channels to decide, well, what is actually good for me, and how do I make sure that I'm not trying to cater to other people and their wants and needs. Last but not least, we have our beautiful reflector. I'm using my beautiful psychic friend Toby's chart here as an example of what zero definition looks like, or no definition, also 1% of the population, because when you have zero definition, you're inherently a reflector, which is inherently 1% of the population. So these are folks who are incredibly tied into the transits. I always tell my reflectors to pay attention to the moon cycle, and the reason that that's so important is that every 2.5 days, roughly our lunar sign shifts. So today at the filming of this video, the moon is in Scorpio. Yesterday it was in Libra. as I was filming. And so when we go into a Scorpio moon, looking at the 6 Scorpio gate placements. So let's see if I can name them all off the top of my head. We have gate 1, gate 43, gate 44, gate 28. Let's see. I know I'm missing a few. I'm a visual. I always remember them when I don't need them. Let me find my Rave mandala. Hold on. Stand by. Bye. Oh, 14 and 50. Yeah, I always forget 52 are like the hybrids because 50 is also a shared placement with Libra. So my Libra Scorpio cusps, or not even cusp, but like if you have a late degree Libra, early degree Scorpio placement, that's when you'll see that overlap of gate 40. And we'll, because of your degree placement. So obviously in human design body graphs, it doesn't tell me degrees. That's where I'll supplement for more complex readings with astrology or natal charts at the same time. So in saying that, right, when the moon sign alone changes every 2.5 days, obviously we have the sun that changes signs once a month, every like 28 days roughly, right, a little bit more than that because of the months of the year, and the 12 zodiac signs, 12 months, etc. It's just another way for you to get in tune as a reflector with the different energies that you have. And for reflectors that have 0 definition, they wait, and their authority naturally is lunar authority or no inner authority or waiting a lunar cycle, all interchangeable, because they have to wait until they get the experience of all 28-day shifts from lunation to lunation. Usually my reflectors tend to feel more alive or energized with the full moon, and then a little bit depleted with the new moon. So also paying attention to that if you are a reflector or a Cancer rising, as Gabe, who's my MG, calls himself a mini reflector, although he promoted himself to mid reflector today, because you're also so in tune with the moon sign. Your rising sign is what tells us what your chart ruler is. So Cancer, if you're Cancer rising being ruled by the moon, you want to look at your moon sign, right? For myself being an Aquarius rising, I have Uranus, but I also have Saturn that I'm very close with in terms of relationship, like that, right? So I look at the traditional and also the modern rulers. I like to look at both because I like to see it from different sides to feel what feels good for me. And I will find that sometimes I feel more Uranus, but most times I feel Saturn, because I also have Saturn conjunct my sun. So looking at the relationship between, if you're somebody that's like a Scorpio rising, if you know, looking at Mars and Pluto as your chart ruler, for example, most people, I think statistically, Scorpio rising is the most common. But if you don't know what your chart ruler is and you want to let me know what it is, or you want to let me know what your rising sign is so I can let you know, we can talk about how to work through that as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video so that I could talk about all of the definitions, just other ways for you to kind of feel like you get unstuck. To persevere in the face of adversity has really been the languaging of the week, the quote of the week that I've really been called to kind of talk about. And feeling like, okay, even if I don't know what's happening, how can I know and feel strong, and giving myself a good solid foundation for what I need, and then being able to grow from there. Really figuring out how to bloom where we're planted right now is incredibly important, and being able to focus on what do I need in this time for what makes me feel stable. A lot of people wanting just to feel safe right now, and their safety feeling like it's been kind of shaken. And I think realizing and what I want to do in Human Designer, imparting this wisdom, is to help you feel and to understand what your foundation is, what your purpose is, so that you can bloom where you're planted, and you don't have to feel like you have to solve everyone's problems or every problem all the time, or feel lost about what your problems are that you want to solve or should be solving, rather than when you know thyself, right? When we know ourselves, we know inherently what's in our joy, what's in our bandwidth, what's within a sustainable practice for our nervous system regulation, to be able to work from that place is really a goal of mine. So if you have any questions, let me know. Obviously, I will see you next Friday. Have a beautiful Venus day. And again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, I will talk to you soon. Last disclaimer I will say is that I will be going live on YouTube as well. And your readings, for any live readings, paid readings that are done there, will be recorded and saved to my YouTube channel for you to watch them again and again. Where on the other app that you know me from primarily does not always give me the easy access to be able to post readings that are recorded. So I will see you guys soon. Have a beautiful day.